position, I am pleased to invite you to turn your attention to this short video presentation that provides an overview of the ISDJ and its key components.
This is our latest initiative in the area of globalization. This is a One UE initiative, managed and owned by all of UWI, an inter-campus initiative, an intercollegial, interfaculty project that brings global partnerships to bear on its mission. UWI, our beloved university, must be a global university because we, the people of the Caribbean, we are a global people. We have been an international people from the very outset of modernity. And therefore, our vision of the world is that while we strengthen our domestic, national, and regional footing, that we must hold our heads up high into the world, because that is where we intend to function at our finest. Within our strategic plan, we set out that the University of the West Indies ought to go global and to do so aggressively. We had reached that level of maturity as an institution in teaching and learning and advocacy in order to take this historic and heroic step into the future. We have done enough over the decades to be confident that we can enter the global world and we can hold our own. We believe that this is the moment, with the full support of the IDB, who have agreed to partner with us in the development of this capacity.
As a globally engaged university and higher education leader for advancing the SDGs, agencies across all sectors find themselves at the UWI's doorstep for its regional and global expertise. We're excited to leverage these partnerships to offer ISDJ students learning and career opportunities that will profoundly shape their future.
This is a new dawning for our UWI.
The ISDJ is administered by the University of West Indies Global Campus, our online campus, and adopts a business school model emphasizing equity, ethics, and transparency in delivering world-class scholarship exclusively on the SDGs. Now, the ISDJ combines UWI's legacy, spanning 2 decades of experience and excellence in online education. It was formerly known, as many of us will know, as the Open Campus. With its steadfast commitments to the SDGs, its world rankings, and its global recognition as a leading producer of knowledge on SIDS, it makes us a pioneering institution. The ISDJ also enjoys accreditation from the UWI Global Campus, and against this context, I invite my colleague, Dr. Francis Severin, who is the Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the UWI Campus, to bring remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, for your gracious introduction and your words about the Global Campus. Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, Vice Chancellor, University of the West Indies, the Honorable Nan Gatsby Dolly, Minister of Education, Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Lisa R. Cummins, Minister of Energy and Business Development, Professor Clive Landis, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal, Kayville Campus, Ms. Elizabeth Roberts, Lead Investment Officer, International Development Bank, Invest, Professor Justin Robinson, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal, Five Islands Campus, Professor Rosemary Bell Antwine, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the St. Augustine Campus, Professor Aldry Henry Lee, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Board for Graduate Studies and Research, Mrs. Andrea McNeish, University Bursar, Mrs. Lolita Davis Mattis, University General Counsel, other members of the senior management team of the UWI, other representatives of the IDBI, representatives of the UN system, representatives of other regional and international organizations, our colleagues from the Kayville and Global Campus here, specially invited guests at the UE and those tuned online on UWITV, members of the media who always bring the good news to the masses. Happy to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a signal pleasure for me to join my colleague, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Global Affairs, Ms. Sandra Maynard, in warmly welcoming you to this important event this morning. As the principal of the Global Campus, I feel a deep sense of relief and peace that this initiative has come to fruition, the sort of peace the world cannot give nor take away. I pay tribute to the staff and students of the UE Global Campus, who we ask to believe in this project and abide with us, since the Global Campus was to be the host and its domicile. I remain especially indebted to our staff who care for and support our students and do all they can to provide an empathetic student environment. Let me state as unequivocally as I can, there will be no distinction between our regional and our global students registered in the ISDJ. They are our UWI or UE students, period. I am proud to lead the Global Campus. With its rich history and institutional precursors, which have enhanced the quality of life in imponderable ways of thousands of Caribbean people via the UE Distance Education Teaching Experiment, UWIDITE, the UE Distance Education Centers, UWIDEC, the School of Continuing Studies, and the Open Campus, the immediate predecessor of the Global Campus, a boon from its fundamental teaching and learning modalities of asynchronous technology and its high-flex, that is, hybrid, flexible approaches. I thank our Vice Chancellor, Sir Hilary Beckles, and the Council of the University of the West Indies for their vote of confidence, with appreciating that our past, present, and continued successes rest upon teamwork and collaboration between our leadership, our staff, and our students, the fundamental stakeholders of the UWIverse. I am also grateful to my fellow principals and pro-vice chancellors who have never lost faith in the Global Campus and its loyal and resilient staff. In defining the fundamental purpose of a university, Vice Chancellor Sir Hilary Beckles made the pertinent point that a university exists for the benefit of the community in which it is situated. This is, at first blush, a simple yet practical, logical, and down-to-earth attribute of what our great university, the University of the West Indies, UWI, has epitomized throughout the over 75 years of its existence. It is also why we have defined ourselves as an activist university with an activist mission, and why we are confident we have lived up to that expectation and in many ways have exceeded it. The focus of the International School for Developmental Justice, for Development Justice, is therefore no coincidence or happenstance. It is deliberate and represents another avenue through which our magnificent University of the West Indies makes it our business and obligation to constructively intervene in our region and in the world. Today's launching of the ISDJ is a significant turning point in our university's development and history, solidifying and further institutionalizing our activist role in the very important matter of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. This ISDJ project is also extraordinary and noteworthy because it is the outcome of a one university endeavor. Hence, while the school is ensconced within the global campus as a campus that is best placed to convey its programs in a virtual realm, the ISDJ is supported by all campuses and the center and is a living example of a collaborative and concerted effort by the University of the West Indies. All campuses have a vested interest in the ISDJ. Indeed, it is quite possible to argue that the very act of planning the ISDJ represents SDG number 17, that is, strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize a global partnership for sustainable development. Hence, we recognize that this is not an insular or parochial campus project. Its success depends on all hands being on deck. That said, we are grateful that the resilience, the strength, flexibility, agility, and toughness in the virtual and high-flex realms which the UWI Global Campus demonstrated during COVID pandemic has paid off today. The ISDJ is a tangible reminder of our hopes and aspirations and the emphases of the University of the West Indies. We are therefore proud of the fact that, quote, the University of the West Indies strategy of focusing on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals is in building out its academic reputation and global research profile has produced a perfect score in the latest Times Higher Education Impact Rankings. Over the past decade, this university has strategically established joint global centers and initiatives with other respected universities to provide advocacy and development outcomes around sustainable development. Impressively, within the Times Higher Education series of metrics used to evaluate the performance of the individual SDGs, the UWI owned a perfect score of 100% for its relationships to support the goals in pursuit of SDG 17, Partnership for Goals. My friends, we understand at the UWI that the 17 Sustainable Development Goals are not simply about reducing the causes of natural hazards such as hurricanes, earthquakes, tropical storms, and whatnot. These are perhaps the physical manifestations of humanity's irresponsible management of our environment and natural resources. To be sure, the recent impact of Hurricane Beryl and please note the effect is continuous and lasting, should provide us with an unequivocal and authoritative aide-memoire that we must take very seriously the phenomenon of climate change and the existential menace that the stronger and more regular natural hazards pose to us, particularly in our small island nations, as well as Belize in Central America, all part of the UWI family. It was also another sign that we must seriously address SDG 13, take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. However, the SDGs go way beyond natural hazards, and so does our ISDJ scope and remit. A quick snapshot of the programs underscores these points, and they were displayed on the screen. Climate studies, public health and informatics, sustainability and data analytics, sustainable entrepreneurship and innovation, sustainability management, gender justice, activism and sustainable development, global African studies, and several others. From this list, colleagues, it should be pellucidly clear to you that the focus of the ISDJ and the UWI is on empowerment of the people of our communities, our countries, our region, and the world. Mitigating the effects of, say, hurricanes or tropical storms or flash floods is fine. But when the tempest is over, what about the life chances and opportunities of our people? What about the fair and even-handed provision on distribution of public health and a humane quality of life? What about the tragic prevalence of gender-based violence, especially in the home or domestic settings, which should be safe havens and not places of fear, anxiety, injury, and death? What about justice in our societies and the need to reverse deliberate and irresponsible actions that perpetrate and perpetuate injustice and prejudice? What about the responsibilities of our public and private sector institutions and organizations to guarantee to their employees and customers justice, equity, and fairness in their operations, in addition to their accountability for upholding the values, mores, customs, and ethical principles of our culture? What about our obligation to counteract the institutionalization of hate and avarice and the implications of these? Are we genuine in our commitment to gender justice, or is there an underlying, convenient, and opportunistic ideology that we have created unequal? What about embracing the idea that optimal human development is built on a philosophy that our individual triumphs and successes must not be inextricably linked to the losses of our fellow human beings or the expense of their fortunes? We can all win. These, I dare say, are the issues that our ISDJ programming are meant to address, hence the sensibility of development justice. These are the concerns as an activist and ethical university. At this point, I wish to thank my many colleagues, too numerous to mention, who have made this possible. I know Pro-Vice Chancellor Maynard will do the needful in that regard, but I beg leave to single out Professor Aldry Henry Lee, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Graduate Studies and Research, Dr. Glenda Gay, Acting Director, Academic Programming and Delivery, and Ms. Althea Gordon, Campus Registrar, and their teams who have moved us to this place today. I've felt very proud of our university, but as the Vice Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Global Affairs, University Bursar, Deputy Principal of the Global Campus, a finance, registry, and IT team from the Global Campus and myself huddled yesterday to iron out some details. That sensibility of pride was reaffirmed. James Freeman Clark famously said that a politician thinks of the next election. No disrespect to our ministers here. A politician thinks of the next election. A statesman thinks of the next generation. I believe if ever there was a project, aside from the University of the West Indies itself, which considered the next generation, it is the ISDJ project, the brainchild of our Vice Chancellor, Sir Hilary Beckles. The success of the ISDJ will impact posterity and the next generation in a positive and sustainable way. Colleagues, I am satisfied that through this fundamental and novel project, we are going to leave the University of the West Indies, the region, and the world a little better than we found it. Great is the University of the West Indies, and it shall prevail. God bless everyone, and peace.
Thank you so much, Principal Severin. Now I'm going to move on and to, of course, our visionary leader. And as one of those visionary leaders who sets goals that challenge the status quo, pushes the boundaries of what we believe is possible. Without a doubt, our Vice-Chancellor embodies this spirit. The conceptualization of the ISDJ was driven by his visionary leadership. A trait recognized by many organizations, including UNESCO, the Association of Commonwealth Universities, and many others. His own dedication to advancing sustainable development and social justice has been instrumental in shaping this innovative and revenue-earning endeavor. It is with great honor that I now invite our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, to the podium. And even as I thank him for his vision and leadership, which has been the cornerstone of the ISDJ's development, we invite him to share with us his insights and aspirations for this groundbreaking initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and very good morning, everyone. Though I should say good day, because many of you online are in different time zones around the world. Allow me to recognize also the protocol, but to extend a very, very special welcome to our two ministers of government, Minister Cummins of Barbados and Minister Gasby-Dolly of Trinidad and Tobago. I used to say of the Republic, but now I have to recall that Barbados too is a republic. And we are honored and blessed to have our ministers with us today, because we are a public university, and that point cannot be minimized. We are here at the pleasure of the taxpayers of the Caribbean, and our ministers are here to represent the public investment in this historic university. Allow me also to recognize all of my distinguished colleagues who are here, and our friend and partner from the IDBI. Elizabeth, thank you for flying down from Washington to be here with us. We thank you very much for building this bridge between a public university in the Caribbean and the IDBI. When this project was first presented for financial support to the IDBI, it was presented as an entrepreneurial project designed to export Caribbean knowledge to the world. This was the perspective we took to the IDBI, that the Caribbean economy at this part of the 21st century is in need of diversification. It is in need of greater competitiveness, but critically to move away from the structures of the 20th century and find new markets in the world for our products. And we have always underestimated the power of our intellectual and cultural creativity. So this project then is designed to mobilize the intellectual achievements of the people of the Caribbean, to package that experience into academic curricula, and to export that curricula to the world. We have had a unique historical experience with the Sustainable Development Goals. And I know this because I was there at the beginning of the conception of these goals and participated in piloting these goals through the General Assembly of the United Nations. So I see myself as a founding member of the conception and the practicality of these goals. It wasn't very long ago that the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon came here to this very campus to thank the UWI for being a champion of the SDGs. We in the Caribbean have all signed on to these goals. All of our CARICOM countries have committed to the implementation of these goals as a development paradigm. But it was not always clear that we had the capacity to implement these goals. It was not clear that we had the research skills to monitor where each country is specifically along the trajectory of implementing these goals. So there's a major scope of work to be done, not only in teaching and research, but also in monitoring and evaluating. And so we were well positioned as a university in the global south, but a university that, when placed on a global playing field to compete with all universities in the world, found itself as an elite university in the world. I stress elite to reflect our academic pedigree, but I also hasten to add that we are not an elitist university. We are here for the masses of people. We are a public university for the common good. This is who we are. And so we have committed ourselves to developing a new economic sector, to participate in the production of a new economic sector, the export of intellectual knowledge, the export of our research on development. Small island developing nations, yes. Vulnerable nations, yes. Post-colonial nations, yes. Nations still struggling with post-colonial issues after 300 years of colonization, yes. That experience is unique. And so we see the world through this peculiar vista. But importantly, Columbus, when he was lost in the Atlantic Ocean, stumbled upon this Caribbean world. And in so doing, integrated the Caribbean into the global system of militarism, politics, and economic expansion. And so the Caribbean became the place where Africa, Europe, and the Americas converge. The Caribbean therefore became the center of globalization, the beginning of globalization. And therefore, we here in the Caribbean must know that history. This is where globalization began, right here in the Caribbean. And we are a global civilization as a result of that. And therefore, for us to take the initiative to go into the global space with our experience, with our development knowledge, with our very fascinating conception of the world as it is today and what we want to see in the future. To be here is to be special. The ISDJ, therefore, is the university's strategic response to our history and to our future. We are taking all that we have learned and we are creating out of that knowledge on all of those issues that are facing the world, all of those issues that are facing mankind today, poverty, climate degradation of the environment, gender justice for all, educational access for all, public health care for all. All of these major discourses, we in the Caribbean have taken that knowledge and we have packaged that together to offer the world a series of master's programs online. And so the world will now be invited to enroll in our master's programs, 1 year online master's programs to students globally. Already, we have students in our university from over 80 countries. We have some 81 countries producing students who are part of UWA as we are now. But small numbers. You know, 5 from this country in Africa, 6 from this country in Latin America, 3 from this country in the Middle East. We have students from all over the world. But now we are saying, come in your thousands now. We have now given you an opportunity to come to UWI, not in small numbers, but in large, sustainable numbers. And this is what we're doing. The IDBI, we must congratulate them for saying to us, if this is the project you have in mind, to export Caribbean knowledge to the world and to build out a new economic sector for Caribbean development, then you should do this in such a way that give you access to global funding. Incorporate the ISDJ. Let it be the ISDJ Inc. Have it registered as a private limited liability company. Let it function as a corporation. Have a board of directors and operate in all of the traditional principles of a private company. Do it that way, and we will fully support you, and this is what we have done. ISDJ Inc., registered in Barbados under the Company Act. We are the university's first inter-campus major financial corporation. This is what it is. And our principals are here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 or 5 principals are here. Thank you. This is the first project in the history of the university that will be managed by all of the campuses combined. All of the 5 campuses have come together to own and to manage this project. So it's not a single campus, as you've heard. All of our 5 campus principals are sitting as directors of the ISDJ Inc. Historic moment for us, because we have been talking about the one UE for many, many decades. Now we have the one UE in action. We have chosen, as you have heard, to locate it within the global campus, but it is owned constitutionally under the Companies Act. It is owned by the 5 campuses. Principals, we thank you for this act of revolutionary solidarity. Many people thought that we could not do this, but I knew that the time had come for innovation, creativity, and taking a new guard. The final point I wish to make in this regard has to do with our international partners. Now, we at UWI have been advocating the principle for many years that no university can go out into the world and achieve excellence by itself. Sustainable excellence requires that institutions, universities ought to be embedded in a culture of partnerships whereas your university has partners on every continent, close, intimate partners, so that when you move with an initiative, you have global solidarity. And this was a precondition for the ISDJ. We needed our global friends to stand with us. And we have established this network of solidarity. When this project was first proposed, the United Nations immediately endorsed it. The Secretary General, Dr. Guterres, we thank him for saying to the UWI, you are the only university in the world. There are 34,000 universities in the world. And you're the only university in the world that has a graduate school exclusively dedicated to sustaining the SDGs. We're the only university in the world that has a school entirely focused on the SDGs. One of the major UN departments, United Nations Academic Impact, which is the subsection of the UN that focuses on global universities. They came to us and they said, how can we help this project to come alive? The UNIA signed an MOU with us and said to us, you have the full endorsement of us. You can even use our logos and all of our branding rights in the global promotion. We are with you on this. We thank the United Nations Academic Impact Agency. Then the Secretary General of the UN asked if I could sit on the board of the United Nations University to link the UWI's agenda, our philosophy, and to inculcate the values of UWI into the United Nations University, which is headquartered in Tokyo. And so we have the UN University as our strategic partner. Then SUNY, the State University of New York, arguably the second largest university in the world, came to us and we signed an MOU and a contract of partnership. Now I want you to imagine SUNY and UWI as partners. Now, we have 50,000 students at UWI. SUNY has 500,000 students. We have 5 campuses. SUNY has 55 campuses. And so we are dancing to the music. So at the signing of the MOU, I said, this is a dance where the ant and the elephant are waltzing across the floor to calypso music. A dance of the ant and the elephant. I want you to imagine that. The ant moving the elephant across the dance floor. Lift her up, spin her around, and continue dancing. It defies the laws of physics, I know, but it's a concept. Then our colleagues in Africa came on board, Johannesburg. Our colleagues in Europe, University of Glasgow. And now we have joint master's degree with Glasgow and Joburg. And now also with SUNY. Against that background, the ISDJ came to fruition. It erupted out of the infrastructure we had built over the years with confidence, global partnerships. And this is precisely why the Times Higher Education in the global university rankings gave us the 100% perfect score, a university that has maximized global partnerships in order to get things done. Against all of this, the IDBI signed off and said, we will do this. We will do this with you. I thank all of my colleagues for all of the hard work you have done. I'm going to leave it to Madam Chair to celebrate our internal leaders one by one for the roles that they have played in bringing this project from conception to implementation and here to launch. I will not do that. I will leave that to you, Madam Chair. But I wish to thank all of my colleague principals, the Bursa, the registrars, all of you who have enabled us to reach this moment. Thank you for your solidarity, for your leadership, and long may the ISDJ become a profitable institution that will continue to impact the world and give the Caribbean economy this new boost of enlightenment of how we can export our intellectual projects and conceptions to the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice-Chancellor. Motivating, as usual, and informative. The ISDJ, as you know and have heard from both the Vice-Chancellor and also Principal Severin, has conceptualized an embodiment of our institution's one UWI philosophy. And with each of those 5 campuses in our multi-campus ecosystem feeding into it. It is also a flagship element of our revenue revolution phase of our AAA strategy. So, the mastermind, I'll introduce him as that, as Professor Justin Robinson, has been advantageous, because not only is he Pro-Vice-Chancellor and Principal of the UWI 5 Islands campus, but he is also Pro-Vice-Chancellor for Planning. And he has had strategic oversight and has anchored this entrepreneurial experiment as our project coordinator. He has been responsible for building out the business plan, its shared services model, and the financing parameters. Now, with his expertise and strategic acumen, Professor Robinson has been pivotal in steering the ISDJ towards a strong path of financial sustainability and operational excellence. It is now my privilege to invite Professor Robinson to share his perspective on the strategic underpinnings that have guided this transformative journey. So, Professor Robinson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me acknowledge the protocols to date, acknowledge our Honorable Minister Dolly Gadsby, and apologize on behalf of Minister Cummins, who has to leave as Senate is about to start, and as she is the leader of government business, they can't exactly start without her. So in the brief, my remarks are going to be quite brief. You know, the combined population of the UWI member states is estimated at about 5.8 million people, ranging from approximately 5,000 in Montserrat to 2.7 million in Jamaica. But despite this small size, the UWI member states, with their dynamism, resilience, and strength, continue to survive and significantly impact the global stage, leading the world in many globally competitive spheres of activity. In the UWI member states, with that tiny population, we have produced 3 Nobel laureates. Yes. I can see the St. Lucian bias coming out on the front row. The UWI member states produces some of the most influential music globally. Bob Marley, Rihanna, to name a few, dominate the global stage in terms of music. We have a rich history of sporting achievements. You know, we've won the 50 over and 20 over World Cup 4 times, dominated Test cricket for decades, produced some of the greatest players ever. And I think quite interestingly, the UWI member states have produced the fastest man, woman, or both in the world in every Olympics since 2008. So I see the launch of the ISDJ, the only online global learning platform dedicated to advancing the United Nations SDGs, as one of the latest examples of Caribbean ambition and exceptionalism. We are used to this. And you know, I didn't really appreciate this, Vice Chancellor, until I was 1996 as a grad student at Manchester. One of my very good friends from India, Sunil Pushakwale, now a professor of finance at Cranfield. As the Olympics started, Sunil said, Justin, boy, you know, I'm really glad I'm not in India at this time. I said, why? He says, every Olympics, India goes into this collective depression because there's this huge discussion that we have over 1 billion people and we can't find one Indian to win a gold medal at the Olympics. And at that time in Barbados, we were really upset that Obadeli Thompson, who made the 100 meters, so India with its over 1 billion people, couldn't win a medal. And we were wanting to kill Obadeli because he had made the finals and didn't medal. So we are confident that we can do this. Because the Caribbean, we are accustomed to playing on the global stage. And as Camilo Gonzalez, the finance minister in St. Vincent, wrote, Caribbean exceptionalism is not the triumphalist, we are number one vein of today's manifestations of great power exceptionalism, but rather the notion that even though we are small, we are strong, we are resilient, and we are capable of leading the world. So as I close these brief remarks, I want to take the opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude to IDB Invest in particular for their strenuous efforts in turning this project from a concept hatched by the Vice Chancellor, discussed at executive management, into a bankable project capable of generating solid returns for the UWI. A project that was also able to attract funding outside of the IDBI. What the IDBI crafted with us, we were able to attract half of the funding from a global fund manager, Blue Like an Orange. So again, I really want to thank you guys, but I can't say I will miss our twice weekly catch-up calls. So I quite look forward to deleting those twice weekly meetings. I also want to especially thank the government of Barbados, and the central bank, which have facilitated us with some critical approvals. Because you know, when you're doing these projects, you get way down the road and then we are getting to signing and someone say, well, oops, Barbados has a fixed exchange rate. You need central bank approval for a foreign loan, and this normally takes several months. And when we submitted our request on Friday, the approval was in my email the Monday morning. So I really want to thank the government of Barbados for facilitating us with that approval, as well as some key waivers. Also especially thank the government of Grenada, without whose partnership we could not have gotten where we are. And I want to end by encouraging my colleagues at UWI to embrace this project. This is our vehicle for taking our substantial intellectual capacity to the world. And we can do this. We do this all the time, so this is part of the course for Caribbean people. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Robinson. And I was going to say, we'll probably shorten my thank yous for later because everyone is covering it really, really well thus far. So we're leading up to our signing, but I just wanted to add to this that we at the UWI recognise the need for positive change. And we are an SDG engaged university. And we have prioritised building global partnerships and connecting knowledge to opportunities for multi-stakeholder development solutions. And this has always been a firm foundation for our globalisation strategy, which continues, of course, to be a fundamental part of alignment pillar in our AAA strategic plan. And we have heard mention of our perfect 100% score for partnerships with the Times Higher Education. And as a developmental partner, the gratitude is also extended by me to, of course, our Development Bank Invest. And their confidence, and as Justin has just alluded to, you had meetings twice a week. Some of us were there daily. So not that I am going to miss my wonderful colleagues that are here, that I have been interacting on a daily basis with, but I am really excited about how this project is going to move forward, and of course welcoming them back to celebrate its continued success. So it now gives me pleasure to invite our three signatories from the University of the West Indies, our IDB Invest, to our stage. Please, could I ask the Vice-Chancellor, and could I also ask Elizabeth, please, and Principal Robinson. And here you will witness all of our representatives formalising this pivotal relationship. And of course, it's under the guidance of our University Council, Mrs. Davis Mattis. Sorry? Do you want to move it? This one. Oh, he wants it over there. This. Today. Complete. Complete? Wonderful. So can I ask you a round of applause? Thank you very much. You have now witnessed the collaboration between our institutions in promoting sustainable development and enhancing educational opportunities for aspiring professionals. And it is at this stage I would invite Miss Elizabeth Roberech, the lead investment officer of IDB Invest, to the podium to share a few words with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be here. I want to recognize the minister from Trinidad and the Vice Chancellor, all the dignitaries, all the representatives of the university, everyone else here today and joining online. It's just a little bit of context. IDB Invest, we're a development bank for the Caribbean and Latin America, and I lead our infrastructure team, which includes a sector that's really very personal and important to us, which is education, and something that we're investing quite a bit in lately. You also saw in the video at the beginning a photo of our chairman, our chief executive officer, James Scriven, who is, some may say, obsessed with doing more investment in the Caribbean. And so it is in that context that I am very, very pleased to be with you. It's really a privilege for me to be able to be here. And to be able to talk about this special partnership that we have, which not only exemplifies the power of collaboration, but also represents a groundbreaking initiative in the realm of global education. At IDB Invest, we believe in the transformative potential of strategic alliances. And our collaboration with the University of the West Indies in the creation of the International School for Development Justice is a shining example of this belief in action. The formation of ISDJ marks a significant milestone, not just for our institutions, but for the global community. This school is the first of its kind, fully oriented to train professionals in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Our partnership with UWI is born out of a shared vision, a commitment to address the pressing challenges of our time through innovation, education, and an unwavering dedication to development justice. As a leading academic institution globally, UWI has long been a beacon of excellence and a champion for social justice. The university's dedication to advancing the Caribbean and Latin American regions aligns seamlessly with our mission at IDB Invest to drive sustainable development through private sector investments. But this collaboration is more than a strategic partnership. It is a confluence of ideas, expertise, and shared values. Together, we recognize that education is the cornerstone of sustainable development. And I want to say that again because it's so simple but so important. Education is the cornerstone of sustainable development. Through ISDJ, we are not only empowering future leaders to understand the complexities of development, but also equipping them with the tools to create solutions that are just, inclusive, and impactful. At IDB Invest, our objectives are deeply rooted in promoting economic growth that is sustainable, inclusive, and aligned with the SDGs. We are committed to investing in projects that improve lives, create opportunities, and contribute to the resilience of communities. The creation of ISDJ is a strategic move for us that aligns perfectly with these goals. ISDJ will serve as a hub for knowledge exchange, research, and the development of best practices specifically oriented towards achieving the SDGs. By focusing on principles of equity, justice, and sustainability, ISDJ will not only educate, but will inspire a new generation of leaders dedicated to addressing the global challenges encapsulated in the 17 SDGs. The impact of ISDJ will be profound and far-reaching. It will not only influence the Caribbean and Latin American regions, but will also serve as a model for global education in sustainable development. Through research, training, and advocacy, the school will contribute significantly to the global discourse on development and justice, offering solutions that are informed by local realities, yet have global applicability. In closing, I want to emphasize that our collaboration with UE and the creation of the International School for Development Justice is a bold and necessary step towards realizing a shared vision of a just and equitable world. And I also want to emphasize that we reviewed this as any other transaction. This was, I'm sure, in some moments, a painful process, but we reached this point of approving approving this investment because we believe in it. We believe that it is a sustainable, it is a great idea. You have an institution here that has the unique capability to implement it, and it is a real entrepreneurial initiative with a lot of potential, and we want to be part of it. We are proud, very, very proud, to be part of this pioneering initiative, and we are confident that the work we do together will have a lasting impact in the region and the world. Congratulations to you all, and thank you so much for including us today in this very special event.
Wonderful. And just before we go to our keynote speaker, I would like to introduce to you a very special young lady, Ayana Goodman, who is a student violinist here at the Cave Hill campus. And Ayana started playing the violin at the age of 12. After beginning music on the steel pan at 11, that's quite a shift, isn't it? Steel pan to violin. And she has played at events at the Frederick Smith Secondary School, as well as outside of the school. Now, playing music to her felt so right. She knew she wanted to make a career out of it. So she decided to attend our Barbados Community College here to further her studies in music. And she was seduced, I should say, by the sweet violin. She fell in love with it and then enrolled at the UE Faculty of Culture, Creative and Performing Arts. And she hopes to continue to be an exceptional musician. So she will perform for us today a medley of 3 songs. Conrad, and I'm going to say John Belly Mama, and I Am a Barbadian. Now, I do have the description of these, which I'm not going to go through, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to warmly welcome Ayana to the stage. Thank you. So thank you very much, Ayana. And I was entertained to hear that each of those songs have a very special meaning. I'm going to summarize very quickly. So Conrad apparently is the name of a duppy that has been said to possess Barbadian women. And in relation to John Belly Mama, our second song, it's a Bayesian folk classic that is loved by everyone's, and as the actions you do, there's a dance that goes with it. I'm not going to demonstrate that here. No. And of course, the proud Barbadian song about Bayesian pride, being proud of your culture, and the way you express yourself is as part of Bayesian way of life. So that is, in short summary, what each of those songs represented. And now we have come to the time where we will be hearing from Dr. the Honourable Nyan Gadsby-Dolly, Minister of Education, as our keynote speaker today. And we are very delighted to welcome her, to give her address, because one thing that is recognised here is that the collaboration between governments and academia, as the Vice-Chancellor has indicated to before, is a very important one and essential for creating and building capacity to meet the challenges of the region and of the 21st century. So together, I would hope to see that our sectors are able to create that powerful alliance that can foster growth and enhance educational opportunities, not just for those in the region, but of course, our potential learners globally. So I'd like you to join me in welcoming our Minister, the Honourable Nyan Gadsby-Dolly, Minister of Education from Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you.
Vice-Chancellor, 4 Vice-Chancellors and Principals, representatives of the IDBI, UE family, our viewing and listening audience, good morning. I begin with the words of a famous calypso, Vice-Chancellor, maybe the one that the ant and the elephant were waltzing to. One race, the Caribbean man. From the same place, the Caribbean man. That make the same trip, the Caribbean man. On the same ship, the Caribbean man. So we must push one common intention, is for a better life in the region, for we women and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man. These words, penned 45 odd years ago by the mighty Stalin, still resonate deeply with the Caribbean's commitment to social mobility and the visceral yearning for development, equality, and equity buried deep in our DNA. The modern Caribbean society consists largely of people who came, relocated here in different eras, with unique journeys and paradigms, which have coalesced into a Caribbean psyche that is underpinned by our commitment to strive. We strive for unity. We strive for recognition. We strive for equality. We strive for development. We strive for justice. Today we gather in this Caribbean institution of higher education, indelible evidence of the success of our striving for unity and development. We gather here to celebrate innovation, expansion, resilience, reimagining, rebranding, and renewal. The launch of the UWI's International School for Development Justice resonates on a multiplicity of levels, personally, politically, socially, and psychologically. Personally, I am a proud UE alumna. As are many of the leaders in our region. Being able to live and study in the Caribbean in our own region-grown institution promotes nationalism and regionalism, which are critical precursors for impassioned, collaborative, and productive striving. To see the UE moving purposefully into the global online education market is a proud experience, as it places us, the Caribbean, into a space dominated by non-Caribbean players. It is bold, frontal action, which signals our intention to sit at all tables in all sectors. As a Caribbean woman leader, this evokes strong sentiments, as it brings to mind our assertiveness in another sphere, the region's leadership role in gender equality. We Caribbean women, we sit at our tables. The Caribbean leads in this regard and will continue to lead. This region has the third highest level of parity globally at 74.3%. We, the UE, the #1 university in the Caribbean, and rated within the top 1.5% of universities in the world, we have led. And we now step further into our established leadership position as the first institution of its kind to offer access to online higher education, which is grounded in the core principles of social justice, equity, and ethics. This is worthy of our pride. Now, I'm a Caribbean woman, so when I feel proud in typical Caribbean fashion, my feet start to tingle and my hands start to jingle. And I feel an irresistible urge to raise my voice on high, sing of my Caribbean pride, sing it loud and strong as our hearts beat as one. Celebrate in song as we rise to heights where we belong. Sound the victory drum for CARICOM. This quote from our official CARICOM song segues smoothly into the political pride I feel today. As Minister of Education, in a country privileged to host a landed UE campus, I am acutely aware of the intricacies of its financial operations. The unstinting, unwavering, and consistent commitment of the governments of the region to the UE has been nothing short of remarkable, and this must be applauded and preserved. Likewise, the efforts, and may I refer to them as Herculean, of the UE to rationalize operational budgets with fiscal realities is commendable and does not go unnoticed nor unappreciated. Please permit me, on behalf of the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, to congratulate and thank the UE for this. I am certain that in this regard, I echo the sentiments of my regional ministerial colleagues, policymakers, who are tasked with balancing what sometimes seems like the unbalanceable. However, as necessity is to invention, so too resource scarcity to sustainable operations. The common thread of sustainability is woven throughout the tapestry of this school we launched today, not only in its intended curricular offerings, but in the very foundational underpinnings of its potential financial value to the UWI. In response to the political directives to lean, 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 shave, 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 justify, 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 which are symptoms of our external pressures, comes the UWI's International School of Development Justice, with a double focus on sustainability that sends a clear signal of the UWI's intention to play an active role in solving its own challenges. From a political standpoint, this is deeply appreciated and wholly supported. For we must not hide from, nor try to outrun our challenges, and worse yet, resort to hiding our heads in the sand. We must face them like the resilient Caribbean people we are and find innovative solutions. Our ancestors were revolutionaries and solutionaries. We are no less so. The UWI's International School of Development Justice is both a revolution and a solution. And the research and data-driven decision-making associated with this project lie at the heart of the hope and, I dare say, expectation of success by which it is regarded by the governments of the region. Indeed, even as we, the policymakers, celebrate this milestone with the UWI, we appreciate that the journey now starts. And to the implementing arm, the Global Campus, I offer these words. Do not give up. Don't let up. For we were put here to survive. We are in charge of our lives. Never look back. Look ahead. Never say die till you're dead. I say to travel on, UWI. Travel on. The students of the Caribbean, the quality of our society, and the ascendancy and competitiveness of the Caribbean region rely not on just a surviving, but a thriving UWI. The data tells us, Vice Chancellor, that there are approximately 50,000 students pursuing various tertiary level certifications across UWI's 5 campuses, at tuition rates heavily subsidized by the governments of the region. These graduates form our professional cadre, the citizens who drive the national developmental agendas of our archipelagic states. Consider for a moment, and I'll knock on wood, if the UWI were to disappear off the map, consumed by its inability to be financially sustainable. What percentage of those 50,000 citizens would be able to fulfill their dreams for tertiary education? What would then become of our professional class? I offer myself as an example. In an education landscape without a UWI campus in my homeland, and without government policy which provided tuition assistance, what would my own trajectory have been? As a lover of geography, that was my first love. I was not in a financial position to travel to UWI Jamaica to read for that degree. But I was able to manage, with help, to read for analytical chemistry in my home country. With God's grace, I was able to sit under the shade of trees planted many years prior to my birth. I was a beneficiary of the recommendations of the Asquith and the Irvine Commissions, which saw the development of colonial universities as a mechanism to rear the local leaders of the future. And with the arrival in the Caribbean of the independence era of the 1960s and 70s came the rapid expansion of the UWI, led by regional visionaries who understood that as we embarked on our post-colonial journey, the Caribbean required greater investment in education at the highest levels to provide for the social mobility of our citizens and that of our Caribbean societies. So it is within this context that I posit the following. The launch of this international school and all that it represents for the potential sustainability of the UWI is a seminal, life-changing event which penetrates to the heart of our society and our people. Please join me in saluting and recognizing the work of our current Vice Chancellor, Sir Hilary Beckles, in bringing this project to fruition. This project is as significant to the young citizens of today, including my own two daughters, who are students of UWI, as it is significant, it is as significant as the work of Sirs William Arthur Lewis, Philip Sherlock, and Roy Marshall, former Vice Chancellors of the UWI, during whose tenure much of the university's expansion was accomplished. Last, but by no means least, I tarry just a little longer to address the psychological impact of this school's launch. It is, to me, indeed apt that the UWI, a Caribbean university with a colonial history, seeks to offer training in development justice, which is grounded in redistributive justice, economic justice, gender and social justice, ecological justice, and accountability to peoples. The Caribbean region itself has much to benefit from a more socially just world. Therefore, who better to champion the training of professionals globally in these areas? As small island developing states which are at great risk from climate change, whether it be loss of coastlines and beaches, infrastructural damage due to hurricanes and extreme weather, or the loss of agricultural productivity due to unpredictable weather patterns, the paradigm from which our UWI faculty can approach such issues is as authentic as it gets. And one can only imagine the impact on the quality of teaching and learning. What we know as the UN developmental goals today are not new in principle, but form the basis of the UN's several developmental campaigns since 1960. These campaigns started as efforts to reduce world hunger, but broadened in scope to economic development, illiteracy, and disease. The objectives of these campaigns over many decades have not been completely met, and some have attributed this to the lack of will of developed countries. Whether this is so or not is a secondary issue for us in the developing world. Our primary concern should be to support in every way we can the achievement of the current Sustainable Development Agenda and its accompanying 17 goals. This holds great promise for the potential and progress of the Caribbean region. Therefore, by introducing the International School for Development Justice, the UWI has joined the battle, taken the bull by the horns, and is now fully engaging citizens of the Caribbean as architects of their own future. If be the change you want to see was a university, it would be the University of the West Indies. Development justice is transformative, and the Caribbean can only benefit from a reduction in inequalities of wealth, power, and resources between countries, between rich and poor, between men and women. For the sake of our progeny, for the sake of the Caribbean, we must do all that we possibly can to succeed in raising up a generation of leaders that collectively value human development over economic growth and operate from a standpoint of social, ecological, gender, and economic justice. I wish the UWI International School of Development Justice Godspeed. Ladies and gentlemen, the pleasure has indeed been mine to have had the honor to contribute these few words and thoughts at such a momentous occasion. And as I thank you for the privilege of your attention, I once again extend my deepest congratulations to the Vice Chancellor, the entire team, and to the UWI, and leave us with these words. There is a light that is rising from out of the West, and proud bearers of that light are we. So we follow those whose work has brought glory to the name of the University of the West Indies, making a better world for you and for me. May God bless us all.
Thank you so much, Minister. That was amazing. And I love the end, the words from the UWI. I was expecting it to be sung, as we all have to sing it at graduation. But I wanted to say that this has been a Herculean task, as you mentioned, in getting this together. And it brings our session to a close. So first of all, before we all part, I would like to say this. I give my heartfelt appreciation to everyone that has joined us here today. That includes, of course, our speakers, but also to our principals, our pro-vice chancellors, our partners, IDBI, but also I want to congratulate the organizing committee. Without them, and you know we have what we call the swan effect, where it all looks beautiful on the top, but we're all furiously paddling away underneath, and that is what all of the teams have been doing to get this together. So in addition to thanking all of those who sit on meetings with us on a daily basis, apart from Principal Robinson, who's the part-timer twice a week, I would like to say thank you at the regional level to the Office of the Vice-Chancellor and all of those working in there. To my office, the Office of Global Affairs, the University Marketing and Communication Office, to, of course, Dr. Chaipal, who has been my best friend, I should say, for the last few weeks. And of course, Siobhan, to the Office of Finance, who has been supportive in ensuring that all of this could take place today. To our generous host campus, Office of the Principal, Office of the Campus Registrar, to chair and members of all local organisation committees, to the office, I should say our bursaries, the Office of the University Council, because there's a lot of people to thank. It's not just the organisation of today, it's for those that have been working tirelessly to ensure that we could get all of the organisation together for the International School for Development Justice. So we want to, of course, thank all our campus security services as well, the Office of Institutional Planning and Infrastructural Services, all of our ushers, student volunteers, of course, UWITV, who give gives us unwavering support. Corbyn's Catering Services, the management staff, and the staff of the Sagicor Cave Hall School for Business, and all of the service providers. And I will say that this is a one UWI venture. And our principals, and of course to those at Global Campus, and Principal Severin, your senior team who sat and will be spending the next few days with me, I want to say it is appreciated. And of course to thank our violinist, and not to forget that rousing speech by Minister Gadsby Dolly. So, Vice-Chancellor, I say again, thank you. Principals, Pro-Vice-Chancellors, and everyone else, I also want to say we thank our media partners for joining us and invite you to contact our University Marketing Communications team to receive, as I understand, a special launch media package, which will be made available to you. So at this juncture, I would like to thank you all. And of course, refreshments will be served at the rear. For some of those who are here with us, you may be taken away just to have a little conversation with our media partners that are present. But I would therefore like to bring this launch to a close. And can you give yourself a final round of applause and enjoy the rest of your day? Thank you.